The date is January 3, 2026, and a geopolitical earthquake has just shattered the Western Hemisphere. Under a moonless Caribbean sky, American elite special forces executed the most audacious military operation of the decade. The target was not a country, but one single man, Nicolás Maduro. For 25 years, the United States watched this nation transform into an untouchable stronghold for its greatest rivals. But tonight, the rules of global power have been completely rewritten. This was not a blunt force invasion with thousands of Marines storming the beaches. Instead, the White House unleashed a terrifying, near-invisible strategy: leadership decapitation. At exactly 0300 hours, a coordinated cyber onslaught completely blinded the Venezuelan state. The sophisticated Russian-made S-300 air defense systems instantly went dark. Before a single alarm could echo through Caracas, stealth aircraft severed all communication lines to the presidential palace. American helicopters hovered low over the urban center, executing a raid built on absolute intelligence dominance. Within minutes, Maduro and his inner circle were secured and flying toward American soil to face trial. But to truly understand why the U.S. could never let Venezuela go, we have to look deeper than this single night. The timing of this strike carries a chilling message that historians will study for centuries. Exactly 6 years ago to the day, a similar irreversible action set the tone for a whole presidential term. By closing a major geopolitical file in the first week of January, Washington completely seizes the global narrative. Yet, the roots of this explosive collapse were planted long before the 21st century. Venezuela is a nation fundamentally defined by an incredible curse of wealth and geography. Sitting at the absolute top of South America, it serves as the ultimate gateway to the Caribbean. It is a demographic and historical heavyweight, once the very cradle of South American independence. The historical memory of Simón Bolívar left an obsession with projecting power far beyond its borders. For decades, this massive ambition was fueled by a lucrative, high-stakes alliance with the United States. The discovery of gargantuan oil reserves transformed an agricultural backwater into the Saudi Arabia of the Caribbean. American tech and capital flooded the country, turning Caracas into a glittering modern metropolis of skyscrapers. But this immense petrodollar wealth created a brittle economy and a deeply unequal society. When global oil markets crashed in the 1980s, the illusion of prosperity evaporated overnight. Skyrocketing poverty and anti-establishment fury created the perfect breeding ground for a revolution. Enter Hugo Chávez, a charismatic lieutenant colonel who electrified the nation with promises to overthrow the elite. His landslide victory in 1998 marked the definitive end of cooperation with the West. Chávez immediately began dismantling the old order, rewriting the constitution to concentrate absolute power. On the international stage, he openly aligned with Cuba, trading vital oil for thousands of intelligence agents. He courted Iran, bought billions in Russian weaponry, and opened the door for China to gain a strategic foothold. Venezuela quickly became a dangerous hub for global anti-Americanism, right in Washington's backyard. Relations deteriorated into open hostility, yet the economic bond survived because both sides still needed the oil. But Chávez made a fatal mistake: he failed to invest in the maintenance of the state oil industry itself. He purged experienced engineers, replacing them with political loyalists, causing production to plummet. When Chávez died in 2013, he left behind a highly polarized and fragile nation to his successor, Nicolás Maduro. Maduro inherited the presidency, but he did not inherit the high oil prices or the charisma. The economic implosion that followed is recorded as one of the worst in modern history outside of wartime. The GDP contracted by a staggering 80%, and hyperinflation rendered the currency totally worthless. As the economy died, the regime turned to illicit black market revenue streams just to survive. Washington openly accused the inner circle of turning the nation into a corrupt narco-state. Severe American sanctions froze government assets, sparking the dramatic political crisis of 2019. Yet, despite international pressure and massive protests, Maduro stubbornly survived the storm. He survived because the military high command remained loyal, profiting immensely from the corruption of the state. But the return of Donald Trump to the White House shifted the strategic calculus in Washington completely. The presence of a Russian and Iranian ally in the Caribbean was officially deemed an unacceptable threat. The historic Monroe Doctrine was dusted off, and the bounty on Maduro's head was raised to $50 million. Maduro prepared for a massive ground invasion or a classic naval blockade, but he fatally miscalculated. He did not prepare for the surgical strike that bypassed his entire army in the dark of night. Now, the dictator is gone, but the removal of the head leaves an incredibly dangerous power vacuum. The Venezuelan military, packed with powerful generals turned businessmen, is currently paralyzed by indecision. Secure, secret lines of communication are likely already buzzing between Washington and the remaining high command. The offer is simple: facilitate a transition to the opposition, or share a federal prison cell with your boss. Meanwhile, the formidable María Corina Machado, the undisputed leader of the opposition, stands ready to step in. She advocates for a total realignment with the West, free markets, and the privatization of the oil sector. But history warns us that clean regime change is an incredibly rare phenomenon. Venezuela remains a broken nation awash in weapons, criminal gangs, and complex border insurgencies. Furthermore, Russia and China, having invested billions here, possess the immense capacity to act as spoilers. The United States, by executing this strike, has now taken full ownership of the Venezuelan crisis. Rebuilding the ruined oil infrastructure will require tens of billions of dollars and years of intense work. Yet, the ultimate prize is undeniable: Venezuela still sits on the largest proven oil reserves on Earth. The long arm of the United States has proven it can penetrate the most fortified bunker in South America. The rules of the geopolitical game have been permanently rewritten with fire and absolute resolve. As the smoke clears over Caracas, the world watches to see if this nation has been saved, or plunged into deeper chaos.